Hey everybody, so you found the property that you love and your family loves. However, in today's market, you're probably going to run into a multiple offer situation. How do you stand out from all the others and make sure that you're more likely to win the deal than others? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Hey, I'm Reglus with Keller Williams Real Estate, your trusted agent of choice for inspiration, education, and results that matter. So let's get right to the material. Before we do that, go ahead and like and subscribe and turn on the instant notifications so you can get all the information as I put new content forward. So you found the property, you're ready to move forward. Your agent calls and lets you know that they found out that there are multiple offers on this property. What do you do? I'm going to give you 7 tips today, and in the next video, I'm going to give you additional tips that push this over. I'm going to give you some hacks and things that you can do to help you move forward and be more likely to get this deal. Here's tip number 1, or strategy number 1, and that is have your buyer's agent, and by the way, I have a network of buyer's agents throughout the country, great buyer's agents. So no matter where you are, I can help you. Have your buyer's agent call the listing agent and ask some questions. I'm going to give you 2 good questions that they can ask. And the first one is actually an open-ended question, and that is, Mr. or Mrs. Listing Agent, is there anything besides price that's important to your seller? And you may hear something like, well, my seller would like to, they're having a house built and they need a little extra closing time. Well, if you as the buyer can accommodate, that's a great thing to put in your agreement. Or maybe the seller needs to sell quickly and get this done very quickly. Again, if you as a buyer know that because your buyer's agent shared that with you, that may be something that you can accommodate. Put that in there. Second question, and there are a lot of questions, but I'm just going to give you 2. The second question that your buyer's agent could ask and should ask, is there something that the seller didn't want to leave but ended up leaving because they thought they needed to? Find that out. For instance, maybe they're leaving a washer and dryer, but they really wanted to take that. If you know that and you have access to a washer and dryer, and you don't really care about that, or maybe you're willing to sacrifice that to get the house, which may be a good idea, then you can do that. Again, you will stand out from the other offers that are in there. So that's tip strategy number 1. Tip strategy number 2, please ma'am, please sir, get pre-approved, and get a real pre-approval, one where they've checked your income, your assets, your credit, your employment. You don't want one of those pre-approvals that it's on a piece of paper, right? But they haven't checked anything. It just says that you are approved for this amount. That's worthless. If I'm a listing agent and I see that, I tell my seller, let's move on. And keep in mind that sellers really don't want a whole lot of offers. They're getting them now. But if they get so many offers, then they have to make a decision. And decisions like this are hard. Which one do I pick? Which one do I pick? So whatever you can do to stand out, and having a great pre-approval is one thing that you can do, you want to do that. Now, in the next video, I'm going to give you an additional tip there, strategy that will push you up even higher that many people can use. So that's tip strategy number 2. And listen, most likely you're going to do fare better if you use a local lender that is known, because that also helps, because the listing agent will say things like, well, I know that lender is a good lender and will push this deal through. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, listen, in this market, don't come in way below list price, right? Okay, yes, I understand. Your agent does need to do comparables, a comparable market analysis, a CMA. And yes, if it's significantly lower than the list price, like the seller is being just totally ridiculous, then okay, you don't want to pay more, right? You don't want to pay more. You may not want to pay more than the comps. You may, In this market you may, but you may not. So yes, go ahead and do your due diligence and see, where the comps come in at. However, if the list price and the comps come in, very close, go ahead and at least offer list price. Now there's some points where you may want to go over list price, and we'll talk about that in the next video, when you may want to go over and how you can do that wisely. But at least come in at list price. Don't lowball. In this market, you're not going to get the properties. Just reality in this market with low inventory. Tied into that is tip strategy number 4, and that's shop below your list price. Shop below, not list price. Shop below the pre-approval, right? So if you're pre-approved for $350, start shopping at $330 or $320. So that way, when you find the property and you do need to go up, you have some room there, right? In terms of your pre-approval. So you're pre-approved at $350. If you're shopping at $330 and $320, if you need to go up, and again, I'm going to show you how to go up smartly, but if you need to go up, you have some room there. Akin to that is this piece. You may, even if you're pre-approved at $350, right? You may not feel comfortable at $350. So maybe $320 is really the most you want to spend. Well, then you want to reduce where you're shopping to maybe $300 so that you can go up to the $320. All right, keep that in mind, because that's very important so that you can be in a position to win the deal. Tip number 4. So this is tip number 5 now. Increase, and not everyone can do this, but if you can, increase your down money. It's called different things in different states. We call it good faith money. In Pennsylvania where I practice, increase your good faith money. Make it stand out. You may want to put $5,000, $10,000 in good faith money so that your offer stands out. Again, when the sellers are looking at multiple offers, many times what they do, what a good listing agent will do, is put all the pertinent details in a spreadsheet. And you're looking at the different ones, and if this one has $10,000 down, yours, and the other one has $2,000 down, yours is going to stand out. So that's something else that you can do to stand out. Tip number 5. Tip number 6. It's been talked about a lot. I've heard it a lot, but it is important. And that is a personal letter to the seller. Now, I'm going to add some pieces to it. Not just a personal letter. It needs to be a handwritten letter. It needs to be written by the person that has the tightest and closest emotional connection to this property. So you want to write things like why you love the property, the fact that you love that how the seller has kept the property, if that is true. You want to write things that are true. You also want to write how you're going to use this property, how it's going to change your family, things like that. People make decisions on emotion first, and so they start with emotion and then they justify it with logic. So you want to hit that emotional chord with them, strike that emotional chord with them, and a personal letter can do it. And you can ask your listing agent, your buyer's agent, to make sure that the listing agent passes this along to the seller. That's tip number 6, strategy 6. Number 7. Now, I don't hear this a lot, but this is a very important one that I've done many times, and it does help win the deal. That is, have your your buyer's agent type up, and this does need to be typed, this shouldn't be handwritten, type up, maybe in an email, a letter to the listing agent. What does your buyer's agent need to put in this letter? They need to put things in there like how you, the buyer, are pre-approved, and you've gone through this whole process to make sure that you're pre-approved, everything has been checked. Yeah, I know it's probably in the good faith letter, but this is for the listing agent to look at and to use this to sell it to their seller. Number 2, they want to put in there that not only are you well qualified, that you really want the house. That's important because that's going to show that you're going to go all the way through. They want to put in there how they, as the buyer's agent, are going to work hard to make sure that this deal goes through, because you have a lot of buyer's agents out there, maybe not a lot, but you have some buyer's agents out there that will not work. So the listing agent's like, I'm gonna end up doing all the work. So you want the buyer's agent to say that they're going to work. If the buyer's agent has a transaction coordinator, say that they have a transaction coordinator. You know, all these things, anything that they can put in there to sell this deal, they need to put that in a letter. They can also call and highlight that to the listing agent as well. That's tip number 7. Now that will make you stand out. So those are 7 initial tips. I have some additional hacks. I'm going to talk to you about other things you can do besides that personal letter to move you up. Other things you can do besides the pre-approval to move you up, again, to make you stand out. So Reggie, Reglus, Keller Williams Real Estate, I hope this information was helpful to you, and be on the lookout for my next video where I'm going to give you more tips to make sure that your offer stands out and that you have a greater likelihood of winning the deal. Have a great day.